Debt is a 4-letter word, and it can send your credit score into a free fall. And I do not like 4-letter words, not most of them except for love. And financial specialist Skip Cowen has 5 ways to ruin your credit. Good morning, Skip.
Good morning, Nikki. How are you?
I'm good. You know, debt, it's a rough word, and unfortunately, it's a word so many of us can relate to,
True
myself
indeed.
included.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the different ways that debt can really ruin your credit.
Well, you know, there are lots of ways to ruin your credit,
Sure.
obviously, but the top 5, I suppose, are, number 1 is charge all your credit cards to the limit. So you got 5 credit cards, they all got a $10,000 limit, and you say, well, gee, I got 50 grand to spend.
Right.
It's free money.
It's free money. I've said that.
Charge those cards to the limit, and your credit score takes a huge hit.
It does.
Oh, yeah, because that's one of the criteria that the reporting agencies look at, Equifax and TransUnion, and what's the other one?
It starts with a V, I think.
Oh, well,
whatever it is. Whatever it is. We don't want to
There are
worry
3
about
of them, but they take a look at how much debt you have, and it's called a debt-to-equity ratio, if you will.
Okay.
And rule of thumb, you should use about 30% of your credit limit, and that's it. That's it.
So when we have these cards and we're having a rough month and we didn't get paid for a couple weeks, and we say, well, I still have $2,000 on my card, we don't want to take that whole $2,000.
No.
We do not want to do that.
That's a terrible mistake, as a matter of fact.
Yes. Does it sound like I'm speaking from experience, embarrassingly?
No, well, I understand
but it makes sense.
but it's an awful mistake.
It's a terrible mistake. Okay, so that's one of the biggest. Now, what's another big one?
Another big one is where you miss due dates.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I do that occasionally.
Sure.
I get fouled up in terms of when the bills due, etc. Best thing you can do is set it up online with your online banking system.
Yes.
Do it early, get that due date set up, and at least make that minimum payment every month.
Good point.
Because that's a huge deal as well. Late payments will have as big an impact on your credit score as really not paying at all.
Sure. Plus, you get the extra fees.
Oh, yeah, the late fees are crazy. 35, 40 bucks.
No, that's...
Who can afford that?
It's bad. And you know, one of the things I would recommend, just personally, because I do a lot of things online, I don't have the automatic, but I know if something's due, let's say on the 21st, if you go online on the 20th, it might not go through right away because sometimes there's technical issues, whatever. So that's why another reason, especially going online, you really want to get in advance. 3
or 4 days in advance is a good rule of thumb.
Okay.
I've done it myself, and it frustrates the devil out of me. You know, I pay the bill on time, and I get this late fee of 35 bucks the next month. I say, what's this?
Right.
The fact is that I made the mistake. It's not the bank's fault.
Exactly. And if there is a technical difficulty and you're regularly on time, they're usually pretty understanding. That's why you want to be consistent with being on time.
True indeed.
And that's okay. So those are the top 2. What's number 3?
The third one really is the top of my list.
Oh, no.
It may not be the top one, but it's top of my list.
Okay.
And that is co-signing on a loan.
Really?
Oh my gosh!
Tell me why.
Well, it's one of the biggest mistakes anyone can make.
Is it really?
Let's just set up a little scenario.
Okay.
You and I are dating, okay?
Yes.
That's a real stretch. That's a real stretch.
No.
And we think this is going to last forever, right? And I come to you and I say, Nikki, I need this new car, but you know, my credit is just really lousy. Can you help me with this? If you co-sign, I can get this new car.
Of course, Skip. I'll do whatever you need.
Exactly, because we're going to last forever, right?
Of
The problem is 2 weeks later we break up. You've co-signed on the loan. Now what?
Disaster.
You know, disaster, because you think I'm going to pay?
No.
No way, baby, because I'm sticking you with the bill.
He said, no way, baby.
Well, that's going to be the deal, right?
You're right. Good point.
You just don't take those kinds of risks.
Even with family, I mean, because, you know, you think a lot of times, well, if it's family, if it's a good friend, we won't break up. We'll still be in each other's lives. But you know what? It does cause a big rift. Let's say, I've seen it happen where somebody actually is out shopping and they owe somebody money or somebody co-signed for them and they're thinking, oh, really? I just co-signed for you, but you can afford to buy a new dress, right? So that's a biggie, number 3. What's number 4?
Number 4 is collecting credit cards like you would on a charm bracelet. You know, we all get these credit card offers in the mail, and they're terrific, and they look good.
Right.
And I've said before, I'm an advocate of transferring balances, things like that, if it catches you a break.
Exactly.
But just to collect credit cards to raise your credit limit, that's nuts.
No, it's not a good idea.
It just makes absolutely no sense.
Don't add credit to your charm.
The last one, and this one is a trap, but I understand it.
Okay.
Your credit cards are important to you. Your credit score is important to you. You're fixated on it.
Yes.
So you pay those credit cards every month.
Okay.
Except you ignore the other bills.
Right.
So you ignore the cell phone. You're a little late on the utility bill.
Cable.
It's the same thing as not paying your credit card bills, guys.
Good point.
You
Very
end
good
up
point.
with the same hit on your credit score.
So include your credit cards with all of your other bills. Keep them on time.
Got to be all together.
At least make those minimum payments, and don't collect them like they're charm bracelet charms. It's not worth it.
Exactly.
And if we ever date, I will not ask you to co-sign anything.
I won't.
Thank you, Skip.
Great.
Thanks for the great advice. And coming up next, we continue our celebration of Black History Month with the soulful sound of gospel.